Hello guys and welcome to the May monthly update. It was a very intense month full of competition. So at the very beginning of the month I headed to Lake Garda where I stayed from pretty much the 1st of May up till 23rd of May. And there I only sailed on IQ foil equipment as I was preparing for the IQ foil championship, and then I later did that, of course. So yeah, the training was generally going well for the first week, and then in the middle of the second week, so roughly around 1 week before the Europeans was supposed to start, I was trying to do some fast tags, still not foiling tags, but just fast tags. And as I was jumping to the other side and was closing the sail, I pulled something in my back. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie, that pushed my confidence down quite a little bit. And yeah, I needed to get a physio session and take a couple of days off. But luckily it was nothing serious and I was able to fully recover and perform well for the European Championships, at least speaking physically. So then the European Championship, the key event of the first half of the year, one of the most important events for me this year. So the IQ Foil European Championship, the Olympic class. And it was a very, very difficult event. So 5 days racing, I think every single one of them, 20 eliminations in total, and results going up and down like crazy. We did actually all three courses. So we did the slalom courses, we did up and down, and we did the marathon. And so basically after the 1 week, the best came out on top. But the way they got there was very, very mixed. So the wind, especially on the horse racing races, was very gusty and shifty in somewhat predictable, somewhat not predictable ways. So the local legends like Nicolai were able to pick up some cues and kind of go to the right direction for most of the time. But for the rest of us, it remained very, very tricky. And if you follow the results, you could see that you could get 10th, 5th, 4th, and then you could get 52nd. So that was partially because of the wind shifts, but also partially because the level was so high. And you could very easily, if you messed up a start, it would be very, very hard to come back during the race. That was one of the reasons why it was extremely difficult. And some people, when they got into the wrong rhythm, they could rack up like 200 points in a matter of 4 races, and that was not unexpected, even if you were doing good and you're in top 20, you knew that you have a bad stretch of luck, a few bad tactical decisions, and you could be dropping 30 places. And that was literally what was happening. Every day people were moving up and down more than 10, 20 places all over the ranking. So that was exciting, but also pretty scary at the same time. I managed to perform pretty well. I was in a really good psychological space, and I think the work with my mental coach has helped a lot with that. And even when I was getting knocked down and making mistakes and making wrong tactical decisions and having bad starts, I was still able to kind of come back and do the next race without too much pressure from the last one. So even if I had a bad race, the next one I was approaching it kind of with a clear head and ready to perform well. And I guess the highlights of the event were winning a course racing race in the blue fleet. So that was still when we were splitting the qualifying fleets. And then once we were in the gold fleet, I came, I believe, 10th in the marathon. So coming 10th out of 80 people in such a strong field. It was the European Championship, but we had people from Brazil, USA, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand. So it felt like a world championship to me. I was very happy with how I performed. I got a bunch of top 10 results on the penultimate day of the main series of racing. After 2 races, I was still in 11th place, so I had the opportunity to climb into the medal race. But unfortunately, the second half of that day and the last day did not go well for me, and I dropped down to 25th position and 9th position according to the nations, which is also very important in the Olympic class, because the nations go to the Olympics, not people, because you only have one person per country. So yeah, overall it was a good result. I was feeling great after it, and then I headed straight to Defi Wind, which, as you know, is a long distance nuclear race in south of France. And there I felt very, very unprepared. I received my boards literally the day before the event. The foil sails I received a few weeks before in Garda, but since I was practicing for European Championship, I couldn't try them. So when I rocked up to the event, I tried to set up as much as I could the day before and in the morning of the event, but still, that was not enough, and I had to learn about the gear as I went through the event. And for me personally, I'm not the type of rider who can pick up any gear and go fast, and I need a lot of time to get used to a new board. You know, for the first 5 sessions that I go on any new board, I usually hate them all. I don't remember a board which I would take and from the first run I would love it. I think I hated every single board that I got as a new board at the beginning, and then I grow to like them. I grow used to them, you know, I start feeling them better, I start knowing how to use them, I start feeling what are their strengths and how to amplify them, and how to negotiate their weaknesses. But yeah, it takes time for me to do that. You know, I need to put in a lot of hours, a lot of work on the water to get to the level where I'm like glued to the board and I'm feeling super, super comfortable on it. So just jumping on a new board, on a new sail and going out for a race, that was a big challenge for me, and I knew that it would be very, very difficult for me to perform well under such conditions. So I still tried to push and do my best, but yeah, I was there kind of enjoying the moment, so to speak. And with the Point 7 team, we were filming a documentary about Defi Wind, so I was involved in that a lot. I was directing it pretty much, you know, I was like working with the filmmaker, telling him like what are the interesting bits, telling him about the event, about the location, about the riders, about what questions to ask. So I put a lot of effort into that, and I think it paid off. Like, I think we received a really good feedback from the first episode. I hope you saw it on my YouTube channel. If you haven't, please go and check. And there are 2 more episodes coming up, so keep your eyes open for those. And that's how the month ended. So very intense month, a lot of windsurfing, but overall really, really good vibes, really positive impressions from it. Even though in Defi I finished 50th, I don't think it's a terrible result from 1,300 people. I know that I could have done a lot better had I prepared for it. Unfortunately, didn't have a chance for it this time. And yeah, just gotta take what you're given and do the best with it. So I think I did that pretty well this month. And yeah, psychologically, I felt good throughout it, physically as well. So now there is quite a little bit of rest period during June, even though the past few weeks have been hella intense back here at home, you know, just sorting all the stuff out that I put aside during the competition time, from sponsors to the Federation of Sailing to car stuff, you know. Now that I'm back at home for 1 month, I need to sort everything out. So I'm running around like a headless chicken pretty much. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Please put them down below in the comments. Please put any ideas of what I should cover in the next video on YouTube or here down in the comments, and I'll make sure to get back to you. Also remember that you can send me any gear questions or technique questions here on Patreon platform. So yeah, make sure that you do that if you're interested in my advice. Thanks a lot for following, thanks a lot for being a Patreon member, and see you next month. Adios.